All right, so recently we've been coming up with a lot of really cool AI concepts, but people not familiar with our work don't actually understand how we would even go about building something like that. So I'm gonna pick one of my favorite designs that we've come up with, and I'll show you exactly how we would build it, or how we've built it in the past. All right, so let's see. One of my favorite concepts is actually the wall. It's absolutely gorgeous. We have a few different examples. This is quite a stunning one. I absolutely love this piece. So my favorite, how we would do that. One, let's take a side view. So you have your wall, and ideally this is some type of structural wall and this is some type of slab. If this is a normal slab, then you're in pretty good shape. And what we would do is take a piece of 2x2 angle iron and we would actually bolt it into the back wall and into the ground. From there, for this particular piece, we have panel that would be perfect for that. So we would come in with some type of lifting device and we would set in our big beautiful panel in here. And we have our thin slab inserts, and we would actually just anchor that straight into the wall, just like so, with pieces of angle iron. They're welded in, and there you have it. You're done. All you have to do is do the seams with a couple bits of hand carving, and away you go. Now you're probably thinking, I don't have panels and I'm not familiar with panels. So the other way to do this is to same wall, and of course this is based on our building engineer being willing to accept this extra weight. And we have two options. One, you're either carving foam like polystyrene, not my preferred in something like this, especially this large of a structure. Ideally we'll have our piece of angle iron that's bolted into the back wall. It's multiple pieces. This looks about let's say 8 feet wide, so you would need at least 3 pieces of angle iron. And then what you're going to do is hand bend all sorts of rebar, and you're actually going to make a 10 by 10 grid. This can vary depending on what the engineer wants, but it's typically 8-inch to 10-inch. After you have your shape and that's anchored into the ground and that's anchored back in, then you're going to put in a 2.5 galvanized lath. Now depending on your mixture, because we get a lot of criticisms for this part, we've done a mixed design that allows us to go on top. All we're doing is using that rebar as a form. But most mixed designs out there need to encapsulate the rebar, which does of course come with extra weight because you're having to go at least 4 inches thick. Ours does not need to go that thick. What we're gonna do is we put that mesh on, having to tie it. So imagine for you, you're putting it on the backside. For us, we're tying it at every single point. And then we're going to spray our fiber coat on top of that, and then our finish coat is coming. And what we do with our finish coat is we make sure to find or create stamps from the real rock itself, whatever that texture may be, whether we have to get it from a real rock wall, a boulder that represents it well, it doesn't matter. What we do is make sure to take a mold from the real rock so we can mimic the texture desired. A lot of people do not pay attention to texture, they just pay attention to shape. For us, we want to make sure it's not just a great carve job, it's also a great texture job. So for this particular piece, there's a lot of texture and movement in there. And so we would either spray on the finish and have a whole team so that they're able to keep up and make sure that we get the optimal level of texture and of course carving, or we would do it by hand and just hand lay up that piece so you're able to take controlled amount of square footage each and every time you're laying that on and making sure that you don't have too many cold joints. I hope that gives some clarification to you guys. Can't wait to build something like this. We've built something similar, I'm just not allowed to show you.